Hebrews, Hebrews. This is the Prophets of Awakening. This is our advanced Bible study night. It's the 19th of December 2023. We'll be dealing with Abraham, uh, CHITTIM, TUBAL, and MELCHEZEDEK. Okay. You can go to our YouTube channel, The Prophets of Awakening, check out our videos. We have a lot of videos on our channel, and they'll lead you into the truth of the Holy Scriptures if you're seeking for the truth. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Okay, it'd be greatly appreciated. And for those that feel the need to support the channel, you can look at our Cash App at the bottom of the screen. Okay. This is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament, consisting of Israel's laws, statutes, and judgments, and our culture, our way of life that was given to him by Lord of Hosts. Okay. Shalom and welcome to the channel, and welcome to our advanced Bible study. Okay. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, a prayer, psalms. We'll do some current events, some little need to know information, and then we'll open it up for some Q&A. And then we'll go into our topic, which is dealing with Abraham, CHITTIM, TUBAL, and MELCHEZEDEK. Okay? This moment of silence is for the Lord of Hosts and all that he's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. O Lord, righteousness and uprightness belongeth unto thee. Therefore, we come before thee at this hour, seeking our face and looking for righteousness and uprightness, that we may walk before thee as thy servants David, Solomon, Samuel, and Hezekiah did, that we may walk before thee in truth and in righteousness and in rightness of heart. Give unto us, O Lord, an understanding heart, that we may discern between good and bad. For we desire to walk after you, O Lord, and to keep your commandments and your testimony and your statutes with all our heart and soul, to perform the words of this covenant that was written down by your prophets. O Lord, allow thy face to shine upon thy people. Hear our plea, hear and do, O Lord. Hide not thy face from us any longer, for we need you so very much at this hour. Peace be unto you. Okay. Let's read the Psalms. Okay. I'll read 74. Psalm 74 is a complaint born of faith. It's the Psalm of Asaph. O God, why hast thou cast us off forever? Why doeth thine anger smoke against the sheep of thy pasture? Remember thy congregation, which thou hast purchased of old, the rod of thy inheritance, which thou hast redeemed. This Mount Zion, wherein thou hast dwelt. Lift up thy feet unto the perpetual desolations, even all that the enemy have done wickedly in the sanctuary. Thy enemies roar in the midst of thy congregation. They set up their ensigns for signs. A man was famous according as he had lifted up an axe upon the thick trees. But now thy break down the carved work thereof at once with axes and hammers. They have cast fire into thy sanctuary. They have defiled by casting down the dwelling place of the name of thy ground to thy ground. They said in their hearts, let us destroy them together. They have burned up all the synagogues of God in the land. We see not our signs. There is no more any prophets, neither is there among us any that knoweth how long. O God, how long shall our adversary reproach? Shall the enemy blaspheme thy name forever? Why withdraw thou thy hand, even thy right hand? Pluck it out of thy bosom. For God is my king of old. working salvation in the midst of the earth. Thou didst divide the sea by thy strength. Thou breakest the heads of the dragon in the waters. Thou breakest the heads of the Leviathan in pieces, and gavest him to be meat to the people inhabiting in the wilderness. Thou didst cleave the fountain and the flood. Thou dried up mighty rivers. The day is thine. The day is thine. The night is also thine. Thou hast prepared the light and the sun. Thou hast set all the borders of the earth. Thou hast made summer and winter. Remember this, that the enemy have reproached, O Lord, and that the foolish people have blasphemed thy name. O deliver not the soul of thy turtle dove unto the multitude of the wicked. Forget not the congregation of thy poor forever. Have a respect unto covenant, for the dark places of the earth are full of the habitation of cruelty. O let not the oppressed return ashamed, and let the poor and needy praise thy name. Arise, O God, plead thine own cause. Remember how the foolish man reproacheth thee daily. Forget not the voice of thine enemies, the tumult of those that rise up against thee increases continuously. So that was Psalm 74, The Complaint Born of Faith by Asaph. Anybody have any comments? Okay, so I'm just looking at verse 2. It says, remember thy congregation which thou hast purchased of old, the rod of thine inheritance, which thou hast redeemed, this Mount Zion wherein thou hast dwelt. So it's like if you focus in, you can see that this is not Yahweh. Like I said, just in this little small verse right here, you can see it's 4 different situations showing you it's not him. He says, remember thy congregation which thou purchased of old. So it can't be Yahweh. Then it says, the rod of thine inheritance. So whoever this is inherited Israel. It ain't given to them. Right? Then which thou hast redeemed. We know who the Redeemer is. Then this is the one, thus this Mount Zion wherein thou dwell. So whoever this is, they dwell on Mount Zion. We know the Creator dwells in the heavens of heavens. So like I said, whoever this is, they dwell on Mount Zion. And we know angels dwell on these mountains. Okay. Anybody else got any comments? Okay.
No, sir.
We're gonna go on to some current events.
Be in President Biden's hands. And suffice it to say, many people are extremely concerned. President Biden has been very inactive lately. He has not been one to pressure other countries to do something that he feels right. He's actually been hiding, taking a step back and hoping other countries step forward and do what he wants them to do, but without asking. Yeah, it's difficult. And this is why some say that President Biden is not the one to lead the United States. Now, we're going to get to what is going on today. There's some major changes that could take effect today. This is big. One has to do with the United Nations. I will address what's going on there, why this is huge news, not only for us here in the United States, but for many people abroad. Because again, what happens today, which could be dictated by President Biden, this will play a major role in the wars between Russia and Ukraine and Israel and Hamas. So make sure you stick around and watch this entire video. All I ask is one thing, takes 2 seconds. Go ahead and hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now, let's begin. So first off, the big news that is coming out today has to do with the United Nations. Look at this. It says the U.S. is about to make a decision at the UN that could change Gaza's fate. Now, what does that mean? Well, here's what I can tell you. Right now, the United States and the United Nations, they're going to vote today. I'll go ahead and read this, okay? It says right here, the best chance right now to improve the desperate situation in Gaza where millions of people are under bombardment while on the brink of starvation amid a U.S.-backed Israel military operation hinges on America's choice at the United Nations. It says the UN Security Council will vote Tuesday, today, on a resolution proposed by the United Arab Emirates, a close U.S. partner, on behalf of Arab and Muslim states that calls for limiting the fighting and dramatically increasing humanitarian aid for Gazans. Now, that is key, because previously at the United Nations, the United States voted and vetoed the resolution for a ceasefire. That was what was requested a week or 2 weeks ago. Now, they're not requesting a ceasefire. Now what they're requesting is to limit the fighting and dramatically increase humanitarian aid. The United States will most likely be on board with this, but once they do, that's going to pressure Israel to limit fighting and increase humanitarian aid to the people of Gaza. Again, these are very important, because if this happens, this resolution goes through, guess what? Israel will need to do what is proposed here. If they don't, then the United States will have a decision. Do we continue to push through this $14.3 billion in additional assistance to Israel? Or do we pretty much scrap that idea, limit any additional funding for Israel, and now we just provide additional humanitarian aid to Gaza? Again, it's a big, big deal. But the reason why this is all happening right now is because this is what some are saying is the breaking point. Hamas is getting very close to breaking. Same thing, Israel is getting very close to getting to Hamas. But at the same time, they need some additional help. But as all this stuff is unfolding, as fighting is going on underground in tunnels, the people of Gaza are starving, they are cold, they don't have a place to go, they don't have medication, they don't have running water, they don't have electricity. There's a lot of things that they're lacking. And so now the world is pointing the finger and saying, Israel, you need to slow down because it's you that is doing this. But it doesn't just start and end with Israel. We also have additional information on Ukraine. This. It says the U.S. will run out of Ukraine aid by December 30th. This is according to the White House. They provided this morning. Well, this explains why the White House has been pushing for additional aid to Ukraine over the past month. Because they say that if Ukraine does not get additional funding, then Russia will win this war. Russia will be closer to more NATO states, and that could actually push an attack. And again, President Biden was warning us before, and he threatened the American people, saying if you do not agree to additional funding for Ukraine, then you better step up, strap your boots on, because you will be fighting Russian soldiers very soon. Yeah, what a threat that was. Now, the reason why I bring all this up is because something that happened yesterday. Senate Republicans pretty much shut the door on a quick Ukraine aid and border deal. Now, probably thinking, why would Republicans not want to pass a bill that has some funding for Ukraine, but also has a border security deal in there? Well, it's actually pretty simple. They say that there were still too many issues. The Republicans say hurdles remain in border talks as Ukraine is waiting. It's the border legislation. That is where things are getting hung up. But according to Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, he says we cannot afford to get this wrong, that the border Ukraine talks are still going on. That's what we know. I want to read you some of these statements from Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. Because just yesterday, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said, while the job is not finished, I'm confident we're heading in the right direction. says finding a is exceptionally hard, and both sides must accept they will have to make concessions, and it's going to take some more time to get it done. But we must succeed. Keyword, it's going to take more time. More time means something is not happening today. It's not going to happen this week. Yes, the Senate will continue and lawmakers will continue to work on this. They will negotiate. They will hopefully go back and forth and have a plan in place probably in January. But this means the funding for Ukraine before December 30th, out of the question. This also means that other countries will need to step up. And I talked about this the other day, and I said that President Biden is hiding. Okay? He is cowering in a corner because he doesn't want to make the decision, and he doesn't want to come out and ask other countries for additional help. So what he's been doing is nothing. He's sitting and waiting. So now other countries are protecting the Red Sea. The United States is as well. But other countries are jumping in to protect the Red Sea. Other countries are saying that they will attack the Yemen Houthis if they continue to bombard ships in the Red Sea. Other countries are stepping forward and saying that they need to look at additional assistance and more aid packages to Ukraine to prevent Russia from taking over. Now other countries are stepping forward. So the interesting part about all this is that the fate of the world has been in President Biden's hands. But at the same time, he is looking after the United States. But some say he's not the one running these things. He's not the one really in charge. He's the face of the nation, but that's about it. Now, we're going to see what happens moving forward, but let's continue on with what Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell had to say. Because he says there are a number of significant issues our colleagues are still working to resolve. Our colleagues at the negotiating table are clear-eyed about the fact that getting this agreement right and producing legislative text is going to require some time. He also added that Republican negotiators are committed to continuing to make progress over the coming week and beyond.
Okay, any comments on that? Anybody heard anything about it?
Shalom, everyone. Well, we have not seen them out there negotiating. We haven't seen them doing anything. So, he's throwing a rock and hiding his hand, pretty much, in my point of view of it.
Okay, anybody else? Okay,
Shalom, everyone. Can you hear me?
yeah.
Yes. I hear that Italy is pulling out from whatever negotiations they are in, and that Brazil is looking, because they do not like the West, so they're looking for joining up with Russia, and they're saying that Russia already has it tied up. I mean, they already basically won, and like he's talking about ending it. I believe Russia already has taken over what they needed to take over. They sent one of their strikes. Another big missile went over there, and I believe they already won. They already took over Ukraine. And the people in Hamas, Gaza, um, they're not speaking of all the women and children or the ones that they had kidnapped or holding hostage. They're starving them out. They're not even trying to help them. That's what I've been picking up off of some of the news and some of the news that was on YouTube.
Right, that's what the whole dad world is all up in arms about. The way that they doing the people, the way they starving them out and all that. They're saying that they could do what they're doing, but not in the way that they're doing it. as far as what they're doing to the civilian population. Okay.
Hello and welcome back to the channel. Well, I have some very, very disturbing news that I'm going to be sharing with you again, in which anyone following this channel and who is paying attention is not surprised by this information. Nonetheless, it is still very, very disturbing. So, according to latest statistics, these excess death reports keep coming out. And young people are still dying suddenly. We've covered this as it was unfolding, and many factors are being pointed to, right? We're not going to get into a whole lot of stuff. We're just going to talk about the fact that it is happening. People are still dropping, right? Of course, major news outlets want to point in this direction and that direction, but they come shy of actually pointing to where they need to be pointing to, if you know what I mean, if you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I want to show you some screenshots here of some of the releases or the reports that have been released about America. Over the whole world goes a summer of hysterical joy. World War. Right here on NPR, it says that American life expectancy is now at its lowest in nearly 2 decades. In nearly 2 decades. Wow. Now here's another one. It says life expectancy in the U.S. dropped for the 2nd year in a row. And recent reports, you all, this is according to the CDC. Recent reports show that it continues to drop. It continues to drop. And so that information alone should cause great concern in those of you who have had your eyes open and know what time it is, right? That call had to come at this time, but anyway, I'm going to keep on going with the broadcast. Or should I say with the video? I'm not broadcasting live, but I am pre-recording this. But this information right here, it coincides with biblical prophecy. We've shown you all before where in the book of Revelation, the scripture did say a particular event was going to cause 1/3 of the Earth's population to be deleted. And then other incidents were going to cause another 1/3 of the Earth's population to be decreased as well. So that's a total of 2/3 of the Earth's population. We continue to get reports shared with us of young people that are dropping. It's not just older people these days. We are talking about young people. Reports being shared with us that young people are dropping. Teenagers, right? Young people in their 20s, 30s, people in their 40s, across every age group. Young, middle-aged, elderly folk are leaving here. You have people's hearts stopping, right? This is some serious business. Over the past 3 years, we've seen something unlike anything we have ever seen before, and we continue to be wowed at the things that are unfolding right before our eyes. People are still dropping. These reports of excess deaths are still coming in. Young people are still leaving here because their hearts are stopping. Cardiac arrest. This is some very alarming news. And for them to say that here in the U.S., life expectancy is dropping year by year, I hope you are getting your eyes open. I hope you are paying attention. This thing is happening. This is not a figment of your imagination. This is not to be played with. Playtime is over. It is finished. I will say to all under the sound of my voice, get your house in order. This is that time. It is time to get your house in order. Playtime is over.
Okay, any comments on that? Okay, that's the need to know information right here.
Landscape of the Middle East, where geopolitical alliances and conflicts constantly shift, a surprising and potentially game-changing development has emerged. Russia and Turkey have teamed up to address the long-standing Israeli-Palestinian conflict, specifically in the Gaza Strip and West Bank territories. This unexpected partnership, characterized by its geopolitical complexity and historical context, has the potential to reshape the power dynamics of the region. In this video, we delve into the reasons behind this alliance, its implications for the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and its broader ramifications for the Middle East. To understand the significance of Russia and Turkey's alliance in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, one must delve into the historical backdrop that has shaped their respective foreign policies in the Middle East. Russia, once a key player in the region during the Cold War era, withdrew its influence following the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991. However, in recent years, it has made a calculated return to the Middle East, particularly in Syria. Moscow's support for Bashar al-Assad's regime in Syria marked a shift in its regional policy, and it has since expanded its influence across the region. Turkey, on the other hand, has a more complex historical relationship with the Middle East. Once the center of the Ottoman Empire, modern-day Turkey has sought to balance its historical ties with the Arab world against its ambitions for regional leadership. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's administration has pursued an assertive foreign policy, which often put Turkey at odds with its traditional NATO allies. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict has persisted for decades, marked by territorial disputes, violence, and humanitarian crises. The core issues revolve around the establishment of a Palestinian state, the status of Jerusalem, the right of return for Palestinian refugees, and the security concerns of Israel. Numerous attempts at peace negotiations, including the Oslo Accords and the Camp David Summit, have yielded limited success. The Gaza Strip and West Bank have been the epicenters of this conflict, with Gaza controlled by Hamas, an organization viewed as a terrorist group by Israel and several Western nations. The West Bank is divided into areas controlled by the Palestinian Authority and Israeli settlements, leading to ongoing tension and clashes. The decision by Russia and Turkey to join forces in addressing the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is a noteworthy departure from their previous stances. Both nations have historically maintained diplomatic relations with Israel, but this alliance reflects their willingness to challenge the status quo in pursuit of their regional interests. One of the driving factors behind this partnership is energy interests. Russia, as a major energy exporter, has been actively involved in the Eastern Mediterranean gas exploration. It has established strong energy ties with Turkey, notably through the Turk Stream pipeline, which delivers Russian natural gas to Turkey. This energy cooperation has provided a solid economic foundation for their diplomatic partnership. In the context of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, access to energy resources plays a crucial role. Israel has discovered significant natural gas reserves in the Mediterranean, leading to disputes with its neighbors, including Lebanon. By partnering with Turkey, Russia can leverage its influence to secure a stake in the Eastern Mediterranean energy game, while providing Ankara with a strategic partner in this contentious issue.
Yeah, so as you can see, because of this because of the situation, with Israel and Hamas and what Israel doing, all these people that was at one time at odds with each other, you can see all this the whole Arab world coming together, putting aside their differences, and they coming together. I mean, if they don't stop what they're doing, Israel, I think it's going to be a serious attack. Russia already got troops on the borders in Syria, and now this dude here, Turkey and Russia, came together on an alliance. So it's not looking good for Israel, and it's not looking good for the world, really, to tell you the truth. Any comments? Okay, we're gonna open it up for some Q&A. Anybody got any questions or comments about or anything that happened over the last couple of days, or something that you heard or came across? You want to talk about it?
Shalom. When you say it's not looking good for the United States, can you talk about that? You mean a war? Um, when you say it's not looking good, what are you defining?
Our economy is already, uh, uh, you know, on the edge. The least little thing that happens is we're gonna be starving. We already see it's a lot of items that we don't even have. They used to be plentiful. We don't even have access to them anymore. It's just a matter of, I mean, you can just look in each community, like the Walmart, especially Walmart. Uh, it's a daily situation. Those trucks come in there. That's what keeping the community alive is those trucks that come in there. No sooner than something happens, when those trucks don't not able to come in there, bring the stuff in there. It's you're on the road to starvation.
Thank you.
Right.
Shalom. Now, when we had the COVID um, situation and how they were stopping the trucks and the goods were not coming in, it was less on the shelf, and they put out the stimulus checks to keep the economy going. And now, I think about 2 or 3 months ago, they were saying that those trucks that were bringing goods in, they were housing immigrants coming over the border. They were, transporting immigrants into the United States, holding off on the goods that should have been coming in. Um, yes, I think in a way that the economy is going down, but then again, I think it's another way of playing into the hands of the United States citizens, because at one point, we supposed to be, as America, the land of the free and the brave, the opportunist place, and now it's seen, as we've been listening to some of the things that you put on from YouTube, that the East is looking at the West as poor country now. We need help and things like that. So bring it up to this day here, how President Biden doesn't want to step on anyone's toes when the Muslims, um, some Black communities are out there saying, we're not going to vote for you if you can't help Israel. Um, is it something that the U.S. should be doing, helping Israel, or not? Um, and Ukraine, should they have been helping Ukraine or not? Those two things, I haven't heard why they're helping. What's the root of helping these two places, or these two countries?
Well, they have um, with Ukraine. It's got to look at the Russian aggression. If you go back the 90s, I think it was, yeah, late 90s, when Russia just out of the blue attacked Georgia. It just came over and attacked Georgia, and it was a little stank about that for a while. Then it went away. Then it came back again. They attacked Ukraine. So those are territories that's bringing the Russian Federation of Russia closer to the borders of these NATO countries. And that's what they're trying to stop. That's why they want to keep on sending funds. They want to keep on dragging that war out as long as they can, because they don't want Russia to come in, conquer them, then get comfortable, and then they know they ain't gonna stop. They're gonna attack somebody else. Now that they're on the borders, they was already on the border of, I think it's Norway or Poland, one of them. They already on their border. So that's why America brought these countries into NATO. They're trying to cut Russia off. But they've been telling them over and over again not to
Interfere.
where they telling just like Russia, just like America. I mean, America is worried about Russia being aggressive. Russia looking the same way at them. You being aggressive because you're trying to bring all these countries in that's around us. You bringing them in, making them part of NATO. So you just doing the same thing, and that's all. It's about a big old political, so politics going on back and forth. They trying to negotiate territory because eventually it's going to be a conflict, but they want to be in the best strategic place that they can. So that's what that's all about. And then America is like people starting to see Israel running America. America ain't running Israel.
So by break.
Can't hear you. I can't hear you. Okay. Anybody else got anything? Okay. I don't know if anybody know anything about it, but they then got another one of our so-called leaders, or what you want to call him, the guy Jonathan Edwards. Let's listen to a little bit of.
Excuse me, you went low a little bit, sir. You say Jonathan Edwards, they got him when could you repeat that?
Yeah,
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live.
He was guilty on 2 counts and he was acquitted on 2 counts.
Okay, thank you.
Let me check a few things, and we're going to get into talking about Mr. Jonathan Majors here. Just give me a second.
Majors, my bad. Majors.
Let's see here. Got quite a few stories to tell y'all today. Make sure I hear myself. I sound perfect. Awesome, awesome. So, yeah, R.I.P. to Kane, man. Yeah, I didn't like that situation, but we'll talk about it. We got a lot of things to talk about today in relation to this. The majority of the conversation will be directed at Black men and Black men only. This is not a conversation I'm directing toward Black American women, but if you have sons, Black American women, or any kind of Black woman, you have sons, then you probably would like to tune in and listen to what I want to say today as well. But yeah, how y'all doing, man? I just, thank the Lord. Had a good day today. Just got back from me and my wife's anniversary trip. This first time I actually took a trip for our anniversary. Want to do something a little different, celebrating 12 years. Thank God for that. Because these days people don't even make it 2 years, 5 years. So I'm very, happy about that, and definitely looking, what's in store for 2024. The kids and everything, and like I said, it's been just definitely a interesting year, that we all have lived. I did something for the first time that I've never done before on this trip. I actually did some zip lining. I never did that. I'll say, you know what, I'm gonna take I'm not telling you how to move. All I can do is just be the guy that can just speak reason. That's it. Once you turn off this live stream, when you listen to it now, later, you don't have to listen to me. I am not in control of your life. Do you date who you want, marry who you want? That's on you. But for the people that maybe want to learn a little something in this stream today, I'm gonna try to just give some information, but I'm gonna preface that your life, do you? You have a right to take any kind of risk you want to with your life, your freedom, whatever. It is your right. I am not the guy to stop you. Please do whatever you're gonna do. Okay? All right. You said Patty said he triggered and I ain't even started. Yeah. That's why I'm giving I mean, shoot, hold on. Let me go back. Let me go to something I haven't did in a long time. Let me cue this up. Disclaimer. In the video, I'm speaking about the subject matter. I'm not speaking about all people. So if this doesn't refer to you, I'm not talking about you. Okay, now that is my disclaimer I put on my soundboard here. Okay? So I'm not talking about you. Don't tell me anything. Don't whine, don't cry, or whatever. All right. So we've been on here long enough. So as you know, Mr. Jonathan Majors, Mr. Cain the Conqueror himself, was in a trial with an ex-girlfriend, his woman from the European American community, and the end of that trial just was not.
YouTube Music Premium is an experience that gives you complete control of your music.
It's BS. It's complete BS. It's BS. And like I said, we're going to go over it. We're going to read through it. We're going to look at that video. We're going to get more into it. And we're going to just talk about just some history and some things that my grandmother, may she rest in power, told me and why. And I'll get into all this today. Let's get into just the news part of it with Mr. Jonathan Majors here. And we'll interject with certain things that I want to show on the screen. So, we see a jury returned a mixed verdict against Jonathan Majors in his domestic violence trial, finding the actor guilty of misdemeanor assault, not felony, misdemeanor, and harassment, but acquitting him. Because see, the story isn't talking about he was acquitted of any charges. They can say he's found guilty, but he was also acquitted of 2 other charges. So it said jurors found Majors not guilty of the most serious charge, assault in the 3rd degree with intent to cause physical injury, as well as aggravated harassment. So the verdict came after roughly 6 hours of deliberation, following a trial marked by emotional testimonies that bullish defense and a dramatic closing arguments. Let's say Majors looked at the jury somberly as the verdict was read. Now, I'm gonna tell you why he looked at that jury that way. Let's put up Exhibit A, and this is something I want to show y'all. Let me go ahead and put this up on the screen here. Now, this is that video that I don't know if some of you saw this video right here. It has no sound. So this was used in court. So if you know what happened with this situation, so what was said was, let me stop it, was that she allegedly saw him have some conversation with some female on the phone. She tried to snatch the phone from him. He was like, got his phone back. He's trying to get away from her. He picks her up, put her back in the car, and as you see now, he's walking away from her. She's grabbing him physically, and he pushes her off, and as you see, he's running away from her. Running away. Running. And he continues to run away from this woman. A black man running away from a white woman in this country, and he's steadily running. He got his Forrest Gump on right now. He's running and running and running away from this woman, and he was still found guilty, ladies and gentlemen. Still found guilty after running from this woman. Okay, so you can imagine why Jonathan Majors was kind of like, you serious? So they said the charges stem from a alleged domestic violence incident on March 25th. According to both defense and prosecution, the incident began with Majors' ex-girlfriend, choreographer Grace Jabari, grabbing his phone after seeing a text message from another woman in her testimony. Now, Jabari said Majors assaulted her while trying to wrestle his phone back in the back seat of the chauffeur car and then bolted on the street, as you saw. So she said the alleged attacker left her with a gash behind her ear and a fractured finger for trying to steal his property. Okay. Major's lawyers argued that Jabari assaulted Majors in the car by tearing off the button of his jacket, hurting herself after the couple separated for the night, and then decided to pin the injuries on the actor in a fit of jealousy. I can believe that, because a woman chasing a man like that is still chasing the man after he ran away from you. Something wrong with her. Let's say for more than 2 weeks of court proceedings, Majors has shown up in pristine dark suits alongside his current girlfriend, Megan Good, and a group of friends and family, including his mama. They say he frequently read the Bible, wrote in his notebook, and drank from a brown ceramic mug during the proceedings. They said lawyers on either side relied on surveillance and police body cam footage. They say to make their respective cases. They said the prosecution played a video of Majors pushing Jabari inside the Escalade multiple times. They say and showing images of her injuries. Then they say she sent, them to a friend. Defense dwelled on the footage from a nightclub where they pointed to Jabari using her supposedly fractured finger to take shots, pay for her credit card bill, and smoke a cigarette after the incident. Say the driver of the Escalade, the only witness of the alleged altercation, said that though he had a feeling that the girl had hit the boy, they say the only physical violence he saw with his own eyes was Majors pushing Jabari back into the car to get rid of her. As we saw on the videotape, they say Jabari also delivered, they say, emotional testimony. They say over the course of 4 days, at times burst into tears and asking to leave the courtroom for a short break in response to the defense dodge cross-examination. Lord Jesus, the tears of horror. Their tears have caused black men to be up on trees. Their tears, whether they're true or not, has caused riots, race riots, whole black people's towns burned down behind those same tears. But we'll get into that a little later. So she recounted numerous incidents over the course of their relationship in which she and Majors lost, and say, their temper. It's at times smashing candles against the wall, or stomping on her headphones. Jabari also read aloud text messages and said related to a previous incident which Majors warned her against going to the hospital since it could lead to an investigation. He said, and I quote, "I will tell the doctor I bumped my head if I go." That's what she said. He said, prosecutor, to also play audio of Majors admonishing Jabari for being drunk, calling himself a great man. They say who needs the support of a partner like Coretta Scott King or Michelle Obama. Now, let me say something like this. Brothers, Coretta Scott King, the wife of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who was a great woman, and she's an ancestor now. Grace Jabari, or anyone in her community, fellas, could never be a Coretta. Never. Because they can't relate to what Coretta dealt with. Can't relate. They can never be a Michelle Obama either, because they cannot relate. You can't, listen, fellas, if you are telling your European woman to be like a great black woman, that lets you know right there that that's what you want, but if you telling her to be this, she cannot be a bootleg copy of Coretta Scott King. She can't do it. That's not in her to do it. Listen, we are the descendants of slaves, right? The reason why we have a contentious relationship is because they are the descendants of slave masters, the descendants of the oppressor. You understand what I'm saying? And the current oppressor that we have. It don't matter how she smiles in your face. It don't matter what she looks like. Don't matter. Okay? That is their lineage, just like we got our lineage, right? And their lineage and our lineage have a beef that's never been solved. And that woman, fellas, would never, never, never give up her privilege. She would never give up anything to be with the likes of you. Never. It don't matter if she got money or not. She's not going to ever give that up. You're not worth that. It don't matter how much she complain to her man. she gonna support her man all the way because that's her man and that's who it is. But let's continue. So Jonathan Majors mostly say avoided eye contact and say with his ex during the testimony. They said, but glad at her, they said with a furrowed brow as she described him hitting her head and twisting her arm during the March 25th incident. They say in closing arguments, they said Majors attorney Priya Chaudhry called Jabari a liar who drinks too much and described Majors as a victim of racist policing. He said, you don't get to destroy people's lives with your fantasies, Chaudhry said. Grace is obviously an emotional person. Many people are, said, but she cannot distinguish between facts and her feelings. Now, prosecutor Kelly Galloway told a more cut and dried approach, walking jurors through the evidence to argue that there was no way Jabari could have sustained her head injuries and that she had no impetus to lie about the alleged assault. Are you kidding me?
Okay. Any comments so far? Anybody know anything about this? Okay.
Problem sometimes in the black community. So much so, the black community and the white community has a problem with black men and white women being together. It puts a lot of societal pressure on black men and white women in those relationships. That's why when you marry a white woman, statistically speaking, 50% divorce rate, the highest at all couples. I'm just telling you, but like I said, do what you want to do, brother. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not. I'm just saying, let's look at it. O.J. Simpson. He was found innocent, so don't tell them about O.J. But O.J., you know, he didn't want to listen. His first woman was a sister or whatever, but he said he didn't want to listen. Got with that. He got with Nicole Brown, and you know what happened to O.J. They was after O.J. After O.J. was found innocent of that trial, O.J. Simpson should have gathered his belongings, sold everything he had in America, and moved out this country because they was not going to let go of that situation with O.J. We got to look at history here. Look at Bill Cosby, right? They won't let that go either. When you brothers see, especially you brothers with money, see that they are trying to clamp you and they not letting go, they trying to find any little thing to get at you. And what happened? Bill Cosby, his behind should have been at home with Camille. Sorry, you should have been. I know a lot of people saying all kinds of things about him and can't prove it. But that's how it is in this country. That group of women can say anything about you and it's going to be believed. They put Bill Cosby in jail. The man can't even see. They had no DNA evidence on Bill Cosby. No pictures, no video, no kits, no nothing on Bill Cosby. Nothing. But what she said. And the brother had to go sit in prison. Is it worth all that, brothers? I'm just saying like this, just for your, look at these men with money, what they doing to them. Another thing, this is another black man that's been taken down. This woman is not no top of the line one. She is way down here. A woman down here can take down the highest black man in the world. The highest. She could take you down just like that. Because that's the power she has in white supremacy. And she's gotten a pretty good amount of power over her own man. That's why they always complaining on them now. But I don't feel bad for her man because he created that problem. He created it. So I don't want to hear it. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. Tiger Woods. He another one. He married the girl from Sweden or wherever that girl was from. And she went to beating on Tiger Woods. Look at how she was acting. And got a bag out of Tiger Woods. And here another one. Don't learn. Don't listen. He ain't learned the lesson yet.
Okay. Any comments? Okay. I think you got a good valid point, me, myself. This is reoccurring and reoccurring. It's like nobody learns. Okay. So with that being said, I thought I'd share that with everybody. We'll go into the topic, which is title is Abraham, CHITTIM, TUBAL, and MELCHEZEDEK. And where I'm reading this from is I'm in the book of Jasher. And we look at the story in Genesis chapter 15. And like I said, when you understand what has happened to our manuscripts, they only gave us a rough draft of what happened and what our forefathers wrote down in the King James. And you have to go to other books to get the in-depth understanding of what happened. So we're dealing with Abraham, and when Abraham met Melchizedek, and it tells you who Melchizedek is and all that, but they don't tell you that in the King James, because a lot of those characters, they didn't turn them over and told you that they was Jesus, like Melchizedek. They tell you Jesus is Melchizedek, and so. And then another thing I want to put an emphasis on while I was reading this is that TUBAL. Like I said, let's look at that right quick before I start reading. If you go to Genesis chapter 3, I think it is, chapter 4, you'll see the descendants of Cain. And then it says in verse, I'll read 21, 22, and 23 says, this is Genesis 4 and 21. And his brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of all the such as handled the harp and the organ. And Zillah, she also bore Tubal Cain, an instructor of artificial of brass and iron. And the sister of Tubal Cain was Naomi. So we see right here this word Tubal, right? So that's that name means it means one thing. That's out of the lineage of Cain. That's what that means, Tubal. And so, like I was saying before, why would anybody else, unless they in the lineage of Cain, name their son Tubal? And then, so when we go to Genesis chapter 10, we see it. We see over here that Japhet, after the flood, in chapters 10, it says, verse 1, these are the generations of Noah, Shem, Ham, Japhet, and unto him were born sons. See that? Japhet, unto him was born sons, born after the flood. The sons of Japhet, Gomer, Magog, Midian, Jabal, Tubal, Meshach, and Tyre. So, I mean, if you got any kind of discernment, you can see that. He named him Tubal because he's out of the lineage of Cain. He's out of Cain lineage. He naming him. That's a name that came down through their lineage. And that's why he named him. That's why he got a son. Japhet got a son called Tubal. So let's look at it. So I started reading. Remember that I just read it and I just put an emphasis on that. So I'm picking up in Jasher chapter 16, right? It says, and where we picking up at is in chapter 15 in the King James, but it's chapter 16 in Jasher. It says, and I'm butchering these names, Chadamine, king of Elam, sent to all the neighboring kings to Nimrod, king of Shinar, who was being under his power. So let's break that down. So this guy, Chadamine, is the king of Elam, but Nimrod was subject to him. So that's major because when you go back to the story of Nimrod was a mighty man before the Lord. He was a conqueror. when he built those 5 cities. Well, this is after the Tower of Babel. Like I said, Nimrod was still alive. The Most High wrecked his kingdom, and he failed, but he wasn't dead. Now this man here is over him. So I'm gonna read it again. At that time, Chalmander, king of Edom, sent to all the neighboring kings, to Nimrod, king of Shinar. So this after Taubal was judged, who was under his power, and Tidal, king of Golan, and to Arak, king of Elazar, whatever that name is, with whom he made a covenant, saying, "Come up to me and assist me, that we may smite all the towns of Sodom and its inhabitants, for they have rebelled against me these 13 years." So I want to shine light on something. It says this guy, Chatham, he's the king of kings. He's giants. He's the king of all the kings. But notice right here, he says, "Come and assist me, that ye may smite all the." No, I don't know. It says he called all these kings, king of Golan, Shinar, king of Arak, and he said, "I made a covenant." He made a covenant with them. So let's look at that right quick. And people find this so, supposedly blasphemy, but let's look at it. I'm in Judges, right? Chapter 2. Just like he just said, I got a covenant with all y'all. So I'm in chapter 2 of Judges, and it says, "And the angel of the Lord came up from Gilgal to Beckham and said, I made you to go up out of Egypt, and I have brought you into the land which I have sworn to your fathers, and I said, I will never break my covenant with you." So, come on, if you got, you did 16, you did your 12, 18 years in high school, in elementary school, and learn how to read, then look what it says. Read it again, chapter 2, of Judges. "And the angel of the Lord," it's the angel of the Lord came up from Gilgal to Beckham and said, "I made you to go up out of Egypt." So it tells you right here, it wasn't Yahweh. "And I have brought you into the land, which is not Yahweh. I swore unto your fathers." So this who talking to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. "And then I said, I will never break my covenant." So he the one got the covenant. That's telling you that. It's killing them. It's like 5 different situations that everybody want to attach it to Yahweh, but it ain't attached to Yahweh. It's attached to this angel, the Lord. And so, like I was saying before, the king told them over here in Jasher, "You got a covenant." So where they getting this from? Because the angels doing it, man. And so they fathered his angels. So it says, he says, I'll read it again. "The king of Edom told the king of Shinar and the king of Golan, Arak, and Elaz, with whom he made a covenant." So he the one over them. That's why he the king of kings. "Saying, come up to me and assist me, that you may smite all the towns of Sodom and its inhabitants, for they have rebelled against me these 13 years. And so even that part, he came to bring judgment on them because they rebelled against him. Well, that's what the whoever is talking to the Israelites. He brought judgment on them because they rebelled against him. And we see from Judges that who it is. It ain't Yahweh. Okay? So you say, let's look at that. So you say, we see right here, just from that one verse, one precept, it ain't Yahweh. So you keep going and say, okay, well, it ain't Yahweh, it's an angel. Well, now he got a son. Jesus is a son. So that means he's wicked as hell. Because he's just like the other 200 angels that Enoch had. The Enoch they tell us about. If we see the angel, the one that's over Israel, so he got a son, then how he get him? He had to do the same shit the mother angels did. Okay, let's keep going. So it says, and these 4 kings went up with all their camps, about 800,000 men, and they went as they were, and they smote every man they found in their road. Okay, and the 5 kings of Sodom and Gomorrah, Shadrach, king of Adar, Shimber, king of Zobin, Barak, king of Sodom, Bersha, king of Gomorrah, and Bela, king of Zoar, went out to meet them, and they joined together in the valley of Siddim. And these 9 kings made war in the valley of Siddim, and the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah were smitten before the king of Edom. And the valley of Siddim was full of lion pits, and the kings of Edom pursued the kings of Sodom, and the kings of Sodom with their camps fled and fell into the lion pits, and all that remained went to the mountains for safety. And the 5 kings of Elam came after them and pursued them to the gates of Sodom, and they took all that there was in Sodom. So what you have to understand, which is what dawned on me, is that this before the Lord of hosts came in Genesis 18 and judged Sodom. All this happening before that. So Lot is dwelling in Sodom at this time right here. We're going to see that in a minute. So it says 6, and they plundered all the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, and they also took Lot. See that? They took Lot, Abraham's brother's son, and his property, and they seized all the goods of the city and told Abraham that the king at Sodom, and they went away. And Eunuch, Abraham's servant, who was in the battle, saw this and told Abraham all that the kings had done to the city of Sodom, and that Lot was taken captive by them. So this guy right here, Eunuch, he's a giant. Matter of fact, let me go back up. When you see where it says they came together in the valley in verse 4, and there was 9 kings. All these giants made war in the valley of Siddim, right? And the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah were smitten before them. These are all giants. Even the men that's in the army, that's fighting in the armies, they are these giants. These giants, what they call the I think it's the million giant war, or the million giant war. This is how many giants was around, and this after the flood. So anyway, it says 7, and Abraham heard this, and he rose up. Check it out, and he rose up with about 318 men that were with him. These are all giants. So this, what you have to understand about this why it's not, it shouldn't be a surprise to you that David got these 33 men around him. The mighty men, the giants. That's why David is so successful. He got 33 giants around him. They're supporting him. So it says, Abraham heard this, and he rose up with 318 men that were with him. You'll see, you'll know in a minute that these giants, right? And he that night pursued these kings, smote them, and they all fell before Abraham and his men. So how has he got 300 men? And all these 5 different kings with 5 different armies, but Abraham smote them. Cause these ain't no regular men. See that? So he says they fell before Abraham and his men, and there was none remaining but the kings who fled, and they went each his own road. So okay, and Abraham recovered all the property of Sodom. He also recovered Lot and his property. Check this out. He recovered Lot and his property, his wives and his little ones, all belonging to him, so that that Lot lacked nothing. So what's that telling you? The same woman that looked back when the angel came and destroyed Sodom, took him outside the city, told him, don't look back. It's the same wife right here. She looked back. And his little ones, these two of these girls right here, these two little girls was grown. That was up in the mountains with Lot when he slept with his two daughters and got Ammon and Moab. But anyway, 9 says, and when he returned from smiting these kings, he and his men passed the valley of Siddim, where the kings had made war together, and Berkah, king of Sodom, and the rest of his men that were with him went out from the flying pits into which they had fallen to meet Abraham and his men. Now here you go, 11. And Abraham, king of Jerusalem, Adonizak, which is the same as Melchizedek, king of Jerusalem, the same with Shem. So let's tell you right here who Melchizedek is. I mean, you ain't got to fumble with it. We tell you, Shem is Melchizedek. Went out with his men to meet Abraham and his people with bread and wine, and they remained together in the valley of Melech. So see that's Melchizedek. That's part of the word that's in Melchizedek. But anyway, notice that Shem got giants with him. See that? Adonijah, king of Jerusalem, Melchizedek, king of Jerusalem, the same with Shem, went out with his men to meet Abraham. See that? With bread and wine, and they remained together in the valley of sin. Melchizedek blessed Abraham. Shem blessed Abraham, and Abraham gave him a tenth from all that he had brought from the spoils of his enemies. And Melchizedek was a priest before God. And all the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah were there with their servants, approached Abraham and begged of him to return them their servants, whom he had made captive, and to take unto him all the property. And Abraham answered the kings of Sodom, saying, as the Lord liveth, who created heaven and earth, and who redeemed my soul from all affliction, and who delivered me this day from my enemies, and gave them into my hands, I will not take anything belonging to you, that you may not boast tomorrow, saying Abraham became rich from our property that he saved. For the Lord my God, in whom I trust, said unto me, thou shalt lack nothing, for I will bless thee in all the works of thy hand. And now therefore, behold, here is all that belongeth to you. Take it and go. As the Lord liveth, I will not take from you from a living soul down to a shoe tie or thread, accepting the expense of the food of those who went out with me to battle, as also the portion of the men who went with me, giants. There you go. Anar, Ashkar, Mamre. See that? Mamre, that's in Genesis 18. When the 3 men came, Abraham was by the oak of Mamre. He was in this giant's territory right here. Anar, Ashkar, Mamre, these are brothers, giants, sons of Anak. See, they and their men, as well as those also who have remained to watch the baggage, they shall take their portion of the spoils. And the king of Sodom gave Abraham according to all that he had said, and they pressed him to take of whatever he chose, but he would not. Check this out. It says, and he sent away the kings of Sodom and the remainder of their men, and he gave them orders about Lot. See that? And they went to their prospective places. And here you go. And Lot, his brother's son, he also sent away with his property, and he went with them, and Lot remained, returned to his home. So to Sodom. See that? So he went back to Sodom. This is before the 3 angels came and judged it. So this is why it was a sign for him to get on right there about his business, but he went right back to Sodom. He went right back to Sodom. And Abraham and his people returned to their home to the plains of Mamre, which is in Hebron. And at that time, the Lord again appeared to Abraham in Hebron and said to him, do not fear, the reward is very great before me, for I will not leave thee until I shall have multiplied thee and blessed thee and made thy seed like the stars in heaven, which cannot be measured or for a number. So that's what I was talking about on Sabbath. You got a covenant with Abraham, we're going to multiply his seed. That's why it was nothing that the Egyptians could do to stop him from multiplying, because he got the Lord of hosts watching over him to perform a blessing that he already told him he's going to perform, a prophecy. They got a prophecy on it. 22, and say, and in the 78th year of the life of Abraham, in that year died Reuel, the son of Peleg, and all the days of Reuel were 239 years, and he died. And Sarah, the daughter of Haran, Abraham's wife, was still barren in those days, and she did not bear to Abraham either son or daughter. And when she saw that she bore no children, she took her handmaid Hagar, whom Pharaoh had given her, and she gave her to Abraham, her husband, for a wife. Okay. For Hagar learned all the ways of Sarah as Sarah taught her. She was not in any way deficient in following her good ways. And Sarah said to Abraham, behold, here is my handmaiden Hagar. Go to her, and she may bring forth upon my knees, that I may also obtain children through her. So we see right here, this is not even King James, but Hagar had taught her the ways of Israelite woman. So that's why Sarah gave her to Abraham, because she had taught her herself how to behave like a Hebrew Israelite woman. She didn't just pop it didn't just pop in her head to give Hagar to Abraham. She had schooled her. And then she gave her over to Abraham. It says, at the end of 10 years of Abraham dwelling in the land of Canaan, which is the 85th year of Abraham's life, Sarah gave Hagar unto him. And Abraham hearkened to the voice of his wife Sarah, and he took his handmaiden Hagar, and Abraham came to her, and she conceived. And when Hagar saw that she had conceived, she rejoiced greatly, and her mistress was despised in her eyes. And she said within herself, this can only be that I am better than before God than Sarah, my mistress. For all the days of my mistress, all the days that my mistress had been with my Lord, she did not conceive. But me, the Lord has caused, in short, a time to conceive by him. So it's a serious problem with us as Israelites. Okay, Sarah brought her in, schooled her, and showed her all this, that, and another. And now this is a conclusion that she come up in her own mind. That she better than Sarah. Ain't that something? See, and when Sarah saw that Hagar had conceived by Abraham, Sarah was jealous of her handmaiden. And Sarah said within herself, this is surely nothing else but that she must be better than I am. And Sarah said unto Abraham, my wrong be upon thee. For at the time when thou didst pray before the Lord for children, why didst thou not pray on my account, that the Lord should give me seed from thee? And when I spake to Hagar in the presence, she despised my words, because she has conceived. And thou would say nothing to her, may the Lord judge between me and thee for what thou hast done to me. So not only did she turn on Sarah, now she don't have no respect for Abraham. She's feeling a certain type of way toward Abraham. Okay. Then it says, and when I spake it for Hagar in the presence, okay. So now, no, he been talking to her. Now all of a sudden, when he talked to her after she conceived, she despised his word. 33. And Abraham said to Sarah, behold, thy handmaiden is in thy hands. Do unto her as it may seem good in thy eyes. And Sarah afflicted her, and Hagar fled from her to the wilderness. So let's look at that. So Abraham had no problem with her. Is when he started, when he came back to like he normally do and talk with her and commune with her. Now she despised his words. That's why he went back. And it says, Abraham said to Sarah, behold, thy handmaiden is in thy hands. He gave up. You see her countenance. It's in thy hands. Do unto her as it may seem good in thine eyes. And Sarah afflicted her, and Hagar fled from her to the wilderness. And the angel of the Lord found her in the place where she had left. She had fled by a well. And he said to her, do not fear, for I will multiply thy seed, for thou shalt bear a son, and thou shalt call his name Emmanuel. Now then, return to Sarah thy mistress, and submit thyself unto her hands. So let's look at this. I just read in Judges, the angel of the Lord came up and told them, I'm the one made the covenant with your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I'm the one got the covenant. I'm the one I'm the one doing all this stuff. I'm the one. So right here, 34. And the angel of the Lord found her. The angel of the Lord, the same angel, found her in a place where she had fled by the well. And he said to her, do not fear, for I, there you go again, angel of the Lord, I will multiply thy seed. For thou shalt bear a son, and thou shalt call his name Ishmael. Now then return to Sarah thy mistress, and submit thyself unto her hand. So let's look at that. 34. And the angel of the Lord found her in a place where she had fled by a well, and he said to her, do not fear, for I will multiply thy seed, right? So let's go. Let's look at that in King James. Okay. I'm in Genesis chapter 3, right? Look at it. So right here in chapter 3, verse 14, the Lord God, see that? The Lord God, the same angel of the Lord. The Lord God and the angel of the Lord, the same being. So look what he say. We just saw the conversation he had with Hagar. He says, I'm gonna multiply your seed. So it's the same person that's talking to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that's gonna multiply their seed. So this is the same person right here. 14, chapter 3, Genesis 3 and 14. And the Lord God said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, thus shalt thou eat all days of thy life. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed. See that? There go the seed again. He the one dealing with the seed, not Yahweh. So once you understand that, you know it's dead calendar line right here. When they 15, I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. She don't have no seed. So ain't no way in hell he said that. She don't have no seed. Let's go back and look at that right quick. In Joshua, it says right here, Abraham talking to Sarah, he says, and when Hagar, 16 and 29, and when Hagar saw that she had conceived, seed, it's angel dealing with the seed. And when Hagar saw that she had conceived, she rejoiced greatly, and her mistress was despised in her eyes. And she said within herself, this can only be that I am better than before the God than Sarah, my mistress. For all the days that my mistress has been with my Lord, she did not conceive, right? But me, the Lord has caused in so short a time to conceive by him. And when Sarah saw that Hagar had conceived by Abraham, Sarah was jealous of her handmaiden. And Sarah said within herself, this is surely nothing else but that she must be better than I am. And Sarah said unto Abram, my wrong be upon thee, for at the time when thou didst pray before the Lord for children, here you go, right? He says, she's still talking, my Lord be upon, my wrong be upon thee, Abraham. For at the time when thou didst pray, when Abraham prayed in chapter 16, Genesis, before the Lord, for children, for seeds, why did thou not pray on my account that the Lord should give me seed from thee? See that? So he put the seed in her. So, and when I speak to Hagar in the presence, in thy presence, she despised my words. Because see, we see right here that how it works. Man got the seed. So it's no way in hell that said no, her seed. Genesis chapter 3. Okay. So that was chapter 16. Anybody got a question? Comments on anything they heard?
Yes, sir. Did Sarah send Hagar out into the desert, correct?
Right.
And and it was Michael who brought her back, the angel.
Angel of the Lord, yeah.
Okay. And you said it was four seeds, so there were more children other than those two that Sarah had and Hagar had.
No, Hagar had Ishmael, Sarah had Isaac.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So I'm in chapter 17. Anybody else got something? Okay. I'm in chapter 17 of Joshua. It says, in those days, in the 91st year of the life of Abraham, children of CHITTIM made war with the children of TUBAL. So just remember what I just showed you about TUBAL. And like I said, who gonna name their son TUBAL? Or who gonna name their son Cain? Unless in their side of their lineage. The only reason you would do that because it's a forefather or a patriarch of yours. Like your lineage, the reason why you would name him that. Nobody else had no reason to name their son Cain when they know the story on Cain. So let's look at it. In those days, in the 91st year of the life of Abraham, the children of CHITTIM, right, made war with the children of TUBAL. So this is the children of CHITTIM is out of the Romans, right? Made war with the children of TUBAL. These are Gentiles. And when the Lord had scattered the sons of men upon the face of the earth, the children of CHITTIM went and embodied themselves in the plains of Canopia. And they built themselves cities. Check it out. And they built themselves cities, therefore, there and dwelt by the river Tabor. And the children of TUBAL dwelt in Tuscan, and their boundaries reached the river Tabor. And the children of TUBAL built a city in Tuscan, and they called the name Sabina after, see that? After the name of Sabar, the son of TUBAL, their father. So like I was saying, the only reason you're gonna get somebody calling their son TUBAL or Cain is they gotta be out of their lineage. And we see it right here. See, and they dwelt there until this day. And it was at that time the children of CHITTIM made war with the children of TUBAL, and the children of TUBAL were smitten before the children of CHITTIM. And the children of CHITTIM caused 370 men to fall from the children of TUBAL. And at that time, the children of TUBAL swore to the children of CHITTIM, saying, ye shall not intermarry among us, and no man shall give his daughter to any of the sons of CHITTIM. For all the daughters of TUBAL in those days were fair, but no man, for no woman was then found in the whole earth so fair as the daughters of TUBAL. And all who dwelled and all who delighted in the beauty of women went to the daughters of TUBAL and took wives from them, and the sons of men, kings and princes, who greatly delighted in the beauty of women, took wives in those days from the daughters of TUBAL. So why is that going on? Because of they mixed Cain descendants mixed with when Lamech married Ada and Zillah. Ada and Zillah came out of Canaan, out of Adam's lineage, and they married into Cain's lineage.
Shalom.
Okay,
Yes, sir. Shalom. Tubal, the Tubal, wasn't he the son of Japhet? And Tubal-Cain was the son of Lamech, and that's
Lamech,
L-A, Lamech.
Lamech,
Yes,
right?
sir. Okay.
They all descendants of Cain.
They're from the northern tribe, correct?
Say it again.
They're from the northern tribe.
No, these not Israelites. It's Cain descendant. The Israelites came out of Adam's descendant.
Okay.
At the end of 3 years after the children of Tubal had sworn to the children of CHITTIM not to give them their daughters for wives, about 20 men of the children of CHITTIM went to take some of the daughters of Tubal, but they found none. The children of Tubal kept their oath not to intermarry with them, and they would not break their oath. And in the days of harvest, the children of Tubal went into their fields to get their harvest. When the young men of CHITTIM assembled and went to the city of Siboney, and each man took a young woman from the daughters of Tubal, and they came to their cities. And the children of Tubal heard of it, and they went to make war with them, and they could not prevail over them, for the mountain was exceedingly high from them. And when they saw that they could not prevail over them, they returned to their land. In the revolution of a year, the children of Tubal went and hired about 10,000 men from these cities that were near them, and they went to war with the children of CHITTIM. Children of Tubal went to war with the children of CHITTIM to destroy their land and to distress them. And in the engagement, the children of Tubal prevailed over the children of CHITTIM. And the children of CHITTIM, seeing that they were greatly distressed, lifted up the children which they had by the daughters of Tubal upon the wall which had been built to be before the eyes of the children of Tubal. And the children of CHITTIM said to them, have you come to make war with your own sons and daughters? And have we not been considered your flesh and bone from that time till now? And when the children of Tubal heard this, they ceased to make war with the children of CHITTIM, and they went away. And they returned to their cities. And the children of CHITTIM at that time assembled, built 2 cities by the sea. And they called one Purtu and the other Ariza. And Abraham the son of Terah was then 99 years old. And at that time the Lord appeared to him, and he said to him, I will make my covenant between me and thee, and I will greatly multiply thy seed. And this is the covenant which I will make between me and thee, that every male child be circumcised, thou and thy seed after thee. And 8 days old shall he be circumcised. And this covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. And now, therefore, thy name shall no more be called Abram, but Abraham, and thy wife shall be no more called Sarai, but Sarah. For I will bless you both, and I will multiply your seed after you, that you shall become a great nation, and kings shall come forth from you. Then Abraham rose and did all that God had ordered him, and he took the men of his household. Remember, they giants, right? He took the men of his household and those he bought with money, and he circumcised them as the Lord has commanded him. And there was not one left whom he did not circumcise. And Abraham and his son Ishmael was circumcised in the flesh of their foreskin. 13 years old was Ishmael when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. And on the third day, Abraham went out of his tent and sat at the door to enjoy the heat of the sun during the pain of his flesh. And the Lord appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre, and he sent 3 of his ministering angels to visit him. And he was sitting at the door of the tent, and he lifted up his eyes and saw, lo, 3 men was coming from a distance, and he rose up and ran to meet them, and he bowed down to them and brought them into his house. So let's look at it, verse 4. The Lord appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre, and he sent 3 of his angels, ministering angels. See that? 3 angels came to him. One of these angels was the Lord. Okay? And he said to them, if now I have found favor in your sight, turn in and eat the morsel of bread. And he pressed them, and they turned in, and he gave them water, and they washed their feet. And he placed them under a tree at the door of the tent. And Abraham ran and took a calf, tender good, and hastened to kill it, and gave it to his servant Eliezer to dress it. And Abraham came to Sarah into the tent, and he said to her, make ready quickly 3 morsels of fine meal, knead it, make cakes to cover the pot containing the meat. And she said, and she did so. Abraham hastened and brought before them butter and milk, beef and mutton, and gave it before them to eat. Before the flesh of the calf was sufficiently done, and they did eat. So let's check it out. Let's look at it. It says 8. Abraham hastened and brought before them butter and milk, beef and mutton. So they got these Israelites eating kosher meat. Same thing they doing. They eating kosher meat. They ain't telling them to do something they ain't doing. Okay, 9. And when they had done eating, one of them said unto him, I will return to thee according to the time of life, and Sarah thy wife shall have a son. So let's look at it right quick. Once you get the foundation, you can see who this is. So he says, we know that it's the Lord of hosts that told Abraham he's going to multiply his seed, right? So you see right here, the same one came to Sarah and told her, you're going to have a son, and I'm going to multiply him, right? So look what it say right here. Okay. Abraham hastened, verse 8, 18 and 8. Abraham hastened and brought before them butter and milk, beef and mutton, gave it before them to eat before the flesh of the calf was sufficiently done, and they did eat. And when they had done eating, one of them said unto him, look at this, I will return to thee according to the time of life, 9 months, and Sarah thy wife shall have a son. So we know who that is, Lord of hosts. He the one dealing with children and seeds. And the men afterward departed and went their way to the places of which they were sent. In those days, all the people of Sodom and Gomorrah and of the whole 5 cities were exceedingly wicked and sinful against the Lord, and they provoked the Lord with their ambitious abominations, and they strengthened in aging abominably and scornfully before the Lord, and their wickedness and crimes were in those days great before the Lord. And they had in their land a very extensive valley, about a half a day's walk, and in it there were fountains of water and a great deal of herbage surrounding the water. And all the people of Sodom and Gomorrah went there for a time, or 4 times in a year, with their wives and children and all that belonged to them. And they rejoiced there with tambourines and dancing. And in the time of rejoicing, they would all rise and lay hold of their neighbors or wives, and some the virgin daughters of their neighbors, and they enjoyed them. And each man saw his wife and his daughter in the hands of his neighbor, and did not say a word. So here you go right here. This were the orgies. So who is this? These Gentiles, Cain descendants. We saw that in the book Adam and Eve.
Yes, sir.
See that? So 15. And they did so from morning to night. And they afterwards returned home, each man to his house, and each woman to her tent. So they also did 4 times in the year. Also, when a stranger came into their city and brought goods which he had purchased with a with a view to dispose of the people of these cities would assemble men, women, and children, young and old, and go to the man and take his goods by force. We read all that in Adam and Eve, giving a little to each man until there was an end of all the goods of the owner which he had brought into the land. And if the owner of the goods quarreled with them, saying, "What is the work which you have done to me?" then they would approach to him one by one, and each would show him the little which he took, and taunt him, saying, I only took that little which thou didn't give me." And when he heard this from them all, he would arise and go from them in sorrow and bitterness of soul. And when they would all arise and go after him and drive him out of the city with great noise and tumult. There was a man from the country of Edom who was leisurely going on the road, seated upon his ass, which carried a fine mantle of divers colors, and the mantle was bound with a cord upon the ass. And the man was on his journey, passing through the streets of Sodom when the sun set in the evening, and he remained there in order to abide during the night, but no one would let him into his house. And at that time there was in Sodom a wicked and mischievous man, one skillful to do evil. His name was Hedad. And he lifted up his eyes and saw a traveler in the streets of the city. And he came to him and said, "Whence comest thou, and whither do thou go?" And the man said to him, "I am traveling from Hebron to Edom, where I belong, and as I passed the sunset, and no one was suffer me to enter his house, though I had bread and water, and also straw and provender for my asses, and am short of nothing." And he that answered and said to him, "All that thou shalt want shall be supplied by me, but in the streets thou shalt not abide all night." And he that brought him to his house, and he took off the mantle from the ass with the cord, and brought them to his house. And he gave the ass straw and provender while the traveler ate and drank in Hedad's house, and he abode there that night. And in the morning the traveler rose early to continue his journey. And when Hedad said to him, "Wait, comfort thy heart with a morsel of bread, and then go." And the man did so, and remained with him, and they both ate and drank together during the day. And when the man arose to go, Hadad said to him, "Behold, now the day is declining. Thou had better remain all night, that thy heart may be comforted." And he pressed him so that he tarried there all night. And on the second day he arose up early to go away, and he that pressed him, saying, "Comfort thee thy heart with a morsel of bread, and then go." And he remained and ate with him also the second day. And then the man arose up to continue his journey, and Hadad said to him, "Behold, now the day is declining. Remain with me to comfort thy heart." and in the morning arise up early and go thy way. And the man would not remain, but rose and saddled his asses. And while he was saddling his ass, the wife of Hadad said to her husband, Behold, this man has remained with us for 2 days, eating and drinking, and he has given us nothing. And now shall he go away from us without giving anything? And Hadad said unto her, Be silent. And the man saddled his asses to go, and he asked Hadad to give him the cord and the mantle to tie it upon the ass. And Hadad said to him, What sayest thou? And he said to him, That thou mayest, uh, that thou, my Lord, shall give me the cord and the mantle made with the divers colors which thou didst conceal with thee in thy house to take care of it. And he that answered the man, saying, This is the interpretation of thy dream. The cord which thou didst see means that the life will be lengthened out like a cord, and having seen the mantle colored with all sorts of colors means that thou shalt have a vineyard in which thou wilt plant trees of all fruit. And the traveler answered, saying, Not so, my Lord, for I was awakened when I gave thee the cord, and also a mantle woven with different colors, which thou didst take off the ass to put them by for me. And Hadad answered and said, Surely I have told thee the interpretation of the dream, and it is a good dream. This is the interpretation thereof. Now the sons of men give men 4 pieces of silver, which is my charge for interpreting the dream, and of thee only I require 3 pieces of silver. And the man was provoked with the words of Hadad, and he cried bitterly, and he brought Hadad to Shirach, the judge of Sodom. And the man laid his cause before Shirach the judge. And when Hadad replied, saying, It is not so, but thus the matter stands. And the judge said to the traveler, This man Hadad telleth the truth, for he is famed in the city for accurate interpretations of dreams. And the man cried at the words of the judge, and he said, Not so, my Lord, for it was in the day that I gave him the cord and the mantle which was upon the ass, in order to put them by in his house. And they both disputed before the judge, and one saying thus the matter was, and the other declaring otherwise. And Hadad said to the man, Give me 4 pieces of silver that I charge for my interpretation of the dream, and I will not make any allowance, and give me the expense of the 4 meals that thou didst eat in my house. And the man said to Hadad, Truly, I will pay thee for what I ate in thy house, only give me the cord and the mantle which thou didst conceal in thy house. And Hadad replied before the judge and said to the man, Did I not tell thee the interpretation of thy dream? The cord means that thy days shall be prolonged like a cord, and the mantle that thou wouldst have a vineyard in which thou wilt plant all kinds of fruit trees. This is the proper interpretation of the dream. Now give me the 4 pieces of silver that I require as a compensation, for I will make thee no allowance. And the man cried at the words of Hadad, and they both quarreled before the judge. And the judge gave orders to his servants, who drove them rashly from the house. And they went away quarreling from the judge. And when the people of Sodom heard them, and they gathered about them, and they exclaimed against the stranger, and they drove him rashly from the city. And the man continued his journey upon his ass with bitterness of soul, lamenting and weeping. And while he was going along, he wept at what happened to him in the corrupt city of Sodom. Okay, so I'm gonna cut it off right there. Any comments? Go ahead. So
No,
this
sir.
is going into depth. What's happening is what was actually going on in Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I was about to say that what was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments on that?
Shalom. Yes, how that lineage, just kept going, the the sons and the daughters, and um, how they, trickery, and how they was sinful, and they kept going on. The That was Tubal, right?
Right. That was Cain's
Yes,
descendants. That was going.
right.
But they don't want you to know that. In
Yes,
King James, they got like everybody out, all sons of. When it says the sons of men, he's talking about
mm,
Cain's descendants. He's
right,
not talking about Adam's descendants. Yeah.
right.
So something.
Yes, sir.
Right. Anybody else got
Yes.
any comment? What's that?
Oh no, I was agreeing, yes, sir.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments before we go? Okay. What, what's up, D-Ray? I'm gonna say shalom, everybody. I'll see y'all tomorrow for our reading through the Tanakh. It's at 8 o'clock Central Time. Shalom.
Shalom, everyone.
Shalom, everyone.